Mark, we were talking before the break about the seeming shift globally, politically, from free market capitalism to whatever you want to call this that we are in now. And
mixed.
We can talk about the results, but I guess I want to talk about the cause behind it because I think it's fairly logical. We can certainly talk about the benefits of free market capitalism. And I think one of them has been decades now of very low inflation and I guess that's the main one that I would point to is our ability to get cheap goods as consumers imported into this country at low cost. The counterpoint to that, and I'm not sure you can draw a one-to-one line on this, but there have been areas of this country, either by choice or because of that decision, that have had a very tremendously difficult time keeping pace. We've seen GDP growth overall, GDP per capita all grow during this period of time. But the wealth distribution, I guess, is what I'm talking about, that some would blame on this free market capitalism. That, those benefits of choosing to manufacture in the cheapest place or the most efficient place for televisions, for example, what that has meant is that American employees don't have good jobs. They instead are working in the service economy, which does not pay as well, and wealth disparity is the result.
You're bringing up a lot of different points. So can I address the last one first?
Yeah, please.
It's hard to draw a straight line between the openness of the economy in terms of trade, and it's about as open today as it was in the 70s, and growing wealth inequality. Growing wealth inequality, which is what I think you were referring to, which economists measure, something called the Gini coefficient, right?
Yep.
It's now about 0.45-ish. World Bank publishes this. Back in the 70s, it was somewhere in the 0.3, mid-0.3. So a greater share of wealth or income, however you want to look at it, is earned by a smaller number of people.
Right.
Is that due to economic openness? The answer is probably not, because the time frames don't work out.
That would be my point, is that I think it gets blamed on that.
Okay, great.
I think that it gets blamed on, my job went to China. The job that I had went to China or Mexico 30 years ago and never came back. When I think the real answer is that it's a policy decision.
Well, I don't know. There are lots of possible culprits. A policy decision because
tax rates, number of different things changing over the years.
I mean, marginal tax rates are a lot lower than they were, even under Democrat administrations. Democrats haven't raised them. Jimmy Carter brought them down for Pete's sake, or wanted to. I forget which. Someone will correct me on that. I know.
I'm not making this about a party issue. I'm just saying that I don't think you can blame the wealth inequality
mentally quickly
purely on open market capitalism.
No, of course not. I mean, arguably, we don't practice open market capitalism anyway. The government has always tinkered. The tinkering has reached an extreme point. Both parties have gone brain dead on this. The Republican Party's gone especially brain dead on this. And it is a great tragedy because they were once the party of open markets, interesting new ideas, keep tax rates low, government unintrusive, classical liberal conservatism as it used to be propounded in the 80s and 90s. Dead. Republican Party doesn't represent that anymore. Democrat Party never believed that. To an extent, though, they were influenced by it. Clinton is probably the personification of the closest thing to someone who's left of center but believed in free markets. Today, free markets don't have a defender. And I don't mean just open trade, relatively interfered with trade. I mean internally as well. There is an appetite for government solutions to just about any problem you can come up with. The GOP thinks that Twitter's unfair, so they want to regulate Twitter, Facebook, censor speech. Democrats have always been reflexively in favor of regulation for the most part. So it's sad for those of us who come from a sort of classical liberal point of view and know that that's been tied to higher rates of growth. It doesn't mean the end of America. It just means lower rates of growth over time.